you wanted the best, you've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. Ladies and gentlemen, the Ireland Sync That Makes Official. Welcome to the big show. As always, for 26 years, 1,700 episodes, going on 1,800 now. We've been bringing you the Chris Voss Show and the wonderful guests, minds, and authors on the show as well. Opinions expressed by guests on the podcast are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host or the Chris Voss Show. Some guests of the show may be advertising on the podcast, but it is not an endorsement or review of any kind. Today, we have an amazing young lady on the show. We're going to be talking about her book and some of her insights and all of that good stuff. It is entitled... If I can find it really quick here and pull it up, we'll get that right. It is entitled From Fear to Peace, Growing Spiritually as a Dementia Caregiver, out May 13th, 2025 by Linda Pruden. Linda, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Linda
it's
Pruden.
Knebel, but that's okay.
Knebel Pruden.
Yeah.
So we'll get into it with her and all that good stuff, and we're going to talk about her book, find out some of the details and all that. She's an author, a national speaker residing in St. Paul, Minnesota. She's received her master's degree in speech language pathology from Purdue University and went on to write 5 books for teachers. In 1987, she was the first speech language pathologist to be named as a finalist for Texas Teacher of the Year. She has used her writing to tap into her experience as a mother of 3 and grandmother to 7. Her spiritual memoir, Reflections of a Changing Family, a recipe book of life, received a Next Generation Indie Book Award. Her latest work, From Fear to Peace, explores her experience caring for her husband throughout his time with dementia and shares messages of hope and peace. Welcome to the show, Linda. How are you?
Thanks. I'm glad to be here. So thanks, Chris.
We're glad to have you as well. Give us any .coms, websites, wherever you want people to get to know you better on the internet.
I'm on Facebook at Linda Knebel, Knebel Pruden, author. And they can find me at lindaknebelpruden.com.
So, Linda, give us a 30,000 overview. What's inside your book?
My book is filled with hope. When my husband was diagnosed with dementia, it was a lot of fear-based anticipation of what was going to come about. And everyone seemed to put their 2 cents in that it was a journey that would not be fun. And I was given books to read, and nothing in the books had anything that I ever found that said there would be any positives in the journey. When I grew up, my mother always told me that rainbows follow every thunderstorm. So I've kind of lived my life that way, trying to find the rainbows and whatever trauma I had. And so I knew that this was going to be no different, that I could find some rainbows in this journey. But again, all the books I read and everything that was given to me was kind of a doomsday. My husband, who's a very spiritual man, before he lost his ability to talk, I asked him what he thought this was all about. He said, Lynn, I think that it is a gift, and a gift to keep us working toward growing spiritually. And that gifts come through challenges. So when things became really difficult, I was like, I've got to find those gifts.
Wow.
And so the book is built around 19 spiritual insights that I found when I wrote my first book, trying to reframe my grandparents and my parents and our journey and trying to find out what were we supposed to learn through all the traumas that we had and we seemed to be repeating. While looking and reframing that journey, I came up with 19 spiritual insights that I have used for the past years. Every time something would happen, I would go back and try to find the beauty in the journey through one of the insights. So that's what I used to reframe the journey. And I did, in fact, go from fear to peace.
Fear to peace. There's a bit of empowerment there, isn't there?
There is. And sometimes it's just how you look at things, switching a little bit of the way you view something, and it changes the entire situation.
Yeah. It's all about how we meet the perception of how we meet things. I mean, we can, something can happen and we can choose at least two paths where we go, I'm just going to throw a pity party and cry and woe is me. And why does the universe hate me? And so kind of soak in some negative depression. Or how can I meet this moment? And like you say, I like the use of the words reframe, where you can reframe it and, have a bit of gratitude or levity where you're like, what is valuable about this particular instance? How can I meet this in a positive way? And, there's, I think I copied this from Anthony Robbins, but, there's two different people can go to a party, and one can just watch the party from a negative sort of perception, and they're like, oh, I saw people just boring and hating it, and they hated the party, and they're just they just weren't happy there. And the other person can be very positive, and they can go to the party and they be, oh, I saw everyone having a good time and talking. And both experiences are probably true because that's what the person saw. Although I don't know, maybe it's not reality. It's just what you kind of see, what you want to perceive, or what you want to see sometimes. And so I love reframing. There's all sorts of things that can happen in life. One of the things that I've lost about 4 dogs so far, and we just started a 5th. And, it's interesting. It's always been hard for me when my dogs passed, but when I get the new dog, the new puppy, I realize that part of this is a circle of life. This is a natural state of life, death and rebirth and all this stuff. And you have to appreciate the value of it, because if we didn't have that sort of loss, where we didn't have need, we wouldn't put any value on any of it. Life wouldn't mean anything if it couldn't be lost, I suppose.
Yeah, I totally agree. And what I learned, or what I kind of figured out through all of this, is that we have childhood things that frame who we are, who we think we are. And it was looking back on our childhoods to find what were we bringing into adulthood that maybe this journey with dementia would help us shed. And with my husband, he had never really received unconditional love.
Oh, wow.
And I think through the journey, he not only learned to have unconditional love, he became unconditional love. What? At the end of the journey, there wasn't a lot left, except he emulated unconditional love to everybody that he was around. And I, as a child, became the people pleaser, the one that I'm a happy person by nature. And I thought that's what defined me. So happy was what I showed the world. And I hid everything that wasn't the happy persona that everyone expected of me.
Oh, wow.
And so you can't really keep a happy persona all the time when you're a dementia caregiver. It's not an easy journey, and I'm not trying to sugarcoat it for anybody, but I am trying in the book to show that there is beauty in the journny.
Yeah.
And if I could, I'd like to go over some of the insights.
Please do. Yeah. Tell us, and if you could, if that includes setting it up too, and telling us when was your husband diagnosed? When did you start down this journey? And what was the scenario, and how did it develop?
I think, like everybody else, probably, we denied it for years.
Oh, really?
And, I saw little things. He gave up driving, but we said that was cataracts, and he would misuse words. And I'm like, yeah, that's just the aging process. And he would feel, I would talk to him like there was a void, and I would think he's just still in his meditation because he meditated a lot.
Oh.
And so we denied until we couldn't anymore. And so he was officially diagnosed. And then about 3 years later, the progression was fairly fast after that.
Oh, wow.
I interviewed him each year. The first year after he was diagnosed, I interviewed him. And that's when he said that gifts come through challenges, and that he thought it was an opportunity for us to grow spiritually. The second year I interviewed him, he said, "We are not here to compete. We're here to learn." And the third year I interviewed him, he said, "Love, peace, and joy. Those are the only things important in life."
Definitely are satisfying, yeah.
And when you think about it, what is more valuable than love and peace and joy? And then after that, he was not able to, when I would ask him a question, he would just kind of look at me. But these insights that I found when I wrote my first book, I've kind of tried to use them throughout my years of looking at them when things were difficult. And so I went back, and the book is really around these 19 insights. It starts out with just kind of framing the journey, and I call it losing Linda. When I lost who I was, I was crying all the time. I just wasn't finding any beauty in life.
Oh.
Then I realized I needed to go and take these 19 insights and get rid of the fear and move it to peace. And so some of the insights, one of them is giving up who you are is a much greater tragedy than losing your possessions. It didn't seem like, how was I going to find this? Because when I wrote my earlier book, we had a house fire that totally destroyed everything. And I realized losing your possessions really isn't that big a trauma. Losing who you are is.
Yes.
But here, what I was losing is I was losing me. I was caring for Rob. I was kind in doing so, but I was losing who I was. I wasn't singing and dancing and smiling like I normally do. And then one day I had this little message, and I like to listen to those little messages. And it said to paint my home. I had always been the one that let him kind of decide the colors. And so we had always had more masculine looking homes. And I was told to paint our home in jewel tones, or what I call fairy tones. So I took a week, and he painted right beside me, or stood there while I painted. And after I changed the home, it was like it was saying, "You're back, Linda, and you're here. You're authentically here." So I put on some music, and I started dancing, and before long, he joined me in our kitchen dance studio, I called it. And he had never danced. So this was a new thing, because whenever I wanted to dance, that's not what he wanted to do. And for the first time now, he was dancing. And I realized that by reclaiming me and what I needed, I was helping him.
Yeah.
So from then on, when he was getting uptight, or if I was, I would put on some music and we would dance. So that's just, and what the book is arranged in, I take these 19 spiritual insights and I try to find something that happened. I had journaled during the process, something that had happened that maybe was present that day or in the past, and how that particular insight was reframing the situation. And so I realized that when you're a caregiver, you're not on a selfless journey of helping your loved one. It's a shared journey. And that's a message I wanted to get across. So at the end, after I write, I call it the spiritual memoir section of the book. Then at the end of every chapter, I have Linda's thoughts for caregivers, where I'm not telling them what to do, but I'm asking them to reflect, and how does this show up in their life? So
that's a really good point, because it's a huge struggle to be a caregiver. It's a huge struggle, because it's hard enough sometimes that we just have to care for ourselves and all our stuff we get ourselves into.
That's true.
Yeah. And it's a big challenge, and then to watch someone disappear in front of you is a challenge as well. Seeing them forget you, seeing them disappear, and that person that you've known for XYZ amount of time, they're disappearing slowly. And I went through this with my sister. She started calling me once a week many years ago to wish me happy birthday every week. It was like every fourth call or so that I would get. And at first I'd push back and be like, "Oh, Delana, it's not my birthday. Are you okay?" And then, eventually it became clear that she was in the throes of dementia on top of her MS. And so I would just thank her. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And we just find the fun in it instead of the disturbing issue with her calling, wishing me happy birthday all the time, because it would bother me. I correct it, and then I realized that it was better just to have fun with it with her, make her feel good, because she would get upset, she would cry, she would get confused, as dementia patients do. It was better that I just had fun with it, and I just, thanks, Lena, thanks for wishing me happy birthday again this week. And
Absolutely.
I mean, seriously, who has birthdays every week? I mean, it's kind of a cool thing if you can. I didn't get presents every week, but it felt good.
That was kind of a present.
Yeah, there you go. Somebody actually remembers me.
Yeah. I found the same. I mean, one of the beauties, I know people think it's weird that I say that there's beauty in dementia and there's gifts in dementia, but one of the greatest gifts is they live right in the moment. There is no past. There is no future. So there are no worries. They're sad, but there's no regrets of the past. There's no worry of the future. It's just the now. And Rob would be, he wandered a lot, and you have to protect them. But I would get him to sit. And when he would sit, I would be like, finally, I can do something. So I would get out my phone, or I would write, or I would do something, until one day I heard this message that said, stop doing and enter his world of being. And so I put away my phone. I put away what I was writing. I held his hand. I put my head on his shoulder. And I just was in the present moment, just being with the man I loved, not doing anything else. And I found that to be the greatest of all the gifts that I got, was learning to be present in the moment and not be having to do something all the time. We're taught, I think, as kids, my mom would say, when we would sit down, she'd go, move, go do something. And so I learned that I was supposed to be doing something all the time. And I think our society is like that.
Yeah.
And yet there's beauty in just being. And now every day I can spend lots of time just being in the moment.
Yeah.
Putting all thought away.
One of the things I got caught up when I was young, and it's something a lot of men get caught up on, we think that by doing things and taking care of people, that's our way of showing love. But people need some, one-on-one time, some FaceTime, some present time of just having quality time with them instead of, being off doing things and things. I had the same kind of challenge with my dogs. I recently got a new puppy, and they've been kind of old enough where they're going and doing things like my older dogs used to do together out in the yard. They I don't know what they do half the time out there, but they're up to something. But I realized that my one dog the new puppy has been really just freaking out every time he gets around me. He's jumping on me, he's clawing at me, he's biting at me, and it's a little bit of a habit. But what he's trying to do is he's trying to get me to be present with him. He's trying to get my attention. And I'm just kind of treating him like one of my older dogs that I don't have to give a lot of attention to. My last dog, we had 10 years of, history. And of course, she was like, I've had enough of this guy after 10 years. She didn't care much. She was good. When she wanted something, she'd let you know. She'd just come visit. I need some treats or something. But my little dog evidently needs a way more being present than what I've been kind of doing the past month that we got her. So, last night I started sitting down and just petting her and just spending time with her instead of trying to go buy new treats or, do my thing and pet them when they come in the office. I've been actively going and trying to spend more time with him just by sitting down, petting him. And he likes to sit near me or lay at my feet. And that's what they like, that being present moment. And that's what so many of us don't do. We get caught in, like you say, the chasing this, taking care of that, and doing this and that, when really sometimes just sitting with a person, and you don't even have to talk to them sometimes. Just sometimes sitting with a person, the bodies energize and talk amongst each other, and you're just there and you feel each other. And I think that's sometimes more healing and important than anything else.
I totally agree. And also, you were talking about your sister and how she called you for a happy birthday all the time. It was hard for Rob to communicate I would talk in different accents to him, and he would think that was really funny.
Oh, really?
And so that playfulness, it's hard to see your husband, who's always been so competent, revert back, but he was kind of like a 2-year-old. And they do throw temper tantrums, and Rob did throw temper tantrums sometimes, but usually it was because he wasn't understood, or because things were too complicated, or he thought he messed up. And dancing and playfulness really helped, and it lightened my load as well. It made things more fun if I could just have fun with it. I know we talked about how they live in the present, and that's why they say the thing. He would say something, and he would say it again, then he would say it again. And being a speech language pathologist by nature, that never bothered me because I was used to kids doing the same thing. But I saw some people who reacted so negatively, and they would say things like, I just told you that. But if we reframe it to see that they're in the moment, they don't remember what they just said. They're in that moment. And just learning to live in the moment, I think is such a beautiful way, actually, for us to live.
Yeah. And caregivers can get really bogged down. They can get really overwhelmed. A lot of times they don't take care of themselves. And so they end up kind of, on the ropes. It's very draining. The emotionality of it too is very hard. Like I said, watching someone disappear, worrying about the future, worrying about them. But like you say, just being present sometimes is the best thing for everyone. Enjoy the moment. I'm always, there's a line that I like from Billy Joel. This is the time to remember because it will not last forever. And, these are the moments you have to remember is what the focus is there because they don't last forever. We all lose people and we lose things in life. And God, you wish I could have spent more time with that person. And so now is the time, and being present. I mean, that's probably one of the great things and pieces of advice to give to caregivers at all is to maybe just live as opposed to trying to, fight what's inevitable. That's inevitably going to happen. It's going to go bad in the end either way. I mean, enjoy what you can, what you have, what you can, I guess.
Yeah, and that was another thing. One of the insights is gratitude expressed as direct communication with God. And, we're taught, be thankful for what you have, be thankful for your things. And I realized I had put gratitude away because it's hard to be grateful for seeing your husband that you've known is so competent, not be able to do things. But I started thinking, you know what? I'm grateful that he's still here. I'm grateful that I can hold his hand. I'm grateful that we can go for a walk and he sees the beauty in the trees, that childlike beauty that he sees it just made a spark in my life to go through and see his eyes through more childlike behavior. Open my eyes to, yes, we can thank for our things, but to think that the sun is shining, or to think that tree is now a beautiful, glorious tree with colors, those things are gratitudes that I now appreciate more than I ever have. And so that was something else that I think I gained.
Yeah. Gratitude is so great in keeping yourself grounded too. I think sometimes we get into these things where we deserve everything, we're entitled to everything and spoiled and don't get our way and get upset about it. But having gratitude really is the thing of appreciating what you have. Because sometimes what you have is going to be gone soon. And that's what you kind of see with dementia and care patients. You know that their health is probably on the downslope. They're disappearing every day. It's a challenge, but all you can do is enjoy the moments you have and the time you can spend with someone or something, and just live every day. I've done that with my dogs in hospice care, where every day is a brick of gold, I used to call it. And we get this day, and I don't know what comes tomorrow, but we get today. And that's the brick of gold. And so
Exactly.
be thankful for what you have. Don't sit there and go, God, this horrible thing happened to me, and why me, and poor is me, and poor pity party, and yada, yada, yada. And then, I mean, I think some people go through that on the way through their steps of grief. But, having that gratitude, having that value, realizing, how valuable life is, how valuable the time that we spend with each other is so important. And I'm glad you give caretakers a lead on this, because we have a lot of caretakers who write books on the show about, how to deal with these situations. And it's tough. It's tough on both parties. But I think caretakers have, I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head. Someone can Google them if you're listening. But they have a high suicide rate. They have a high depression rate. In fact, caretakers have a higher, I think it's times 7 or 10 times higher chance of getting Alzheimer's, dementia themselves, because it takes such a toll on their bodies and their brains to take care of someone else. And so that's a huge factor in managing, the stress that you're under and being a caretaker.
The other thing that I learned is that we're not in this alone. I was raised in that time period where women, we were the caregivers. And we could do it all. We were not supposed to ask for help. We're supposed to do it all. And yet what I found is that we can't lose ourselves. So I helped reclaim myself by the painting and then the dancing. But there's more things. I missed time with my friends. And what I found is that we have to find a way to reclaim the part of us that makes us who we are. And so I had to put aside, we had an accident in Tennessee that put me in the hospital and took out my entire right arm. So I was going to be non-functioning. And it required that I ask for help. And what I found is what I asked for help is that everyone was there. Everyone came to my aid, offering things. That we get this idea that we have to do it all, but really we don't. And another thing from my advice for caregivers is what is that passion that defines you? And find a way to keep it. So whatever it is, if you like to talk to friends, find a way to talk to them. Either bring them to your house or talk to them on the phone or whatever. But you can't give up everything that you love, because then you will become resentful. And I knew I didn't want to become resentful. The other thing I think I had to learn is not only to let go. I kept getting the message, let go and let God. It is what it is, and enjoy the journey and learn from it and profit from it. But I also had to learn to let go and let friends. That we're not in this alone. We have people who want to help. There are resources that are out there, and we need to acknowledge that we can't do it all ourselves. It is, like you said, it's not an easy journey.
No.
But it is a journey that I found is filled with opportunities for growth. I'm not the same person. I don't see how you could be a caregiver and come out to be the same person, but I'm a better, more authentic me. I think it's more in women maybe than men that we're taught not to be angry. And so I didn't show anger. I don't think Rob ever saw me angry. But when he's urinating all over the house, it's a little hard.
It's a little,
it's a little tricky not to feel that anger coming. And so I had to find a way, because if you think of a toddler, and that's how I saw Rob, if you think of a toddler, if you get angry at them, they're going to throw a temper tantrum. They're going to do something. And with Rob, it would be he would leave the house and he would wander off. And that's not safe. And that's not safe. So I had to find a way to release my anger, but at the same time, not let him know that the anger was from something that he caused. I learned some very fun swear words that I've never allowed myself to use. And the one I liked start with the F word, and it became my favorite, Chris. And unfortunately, or fortunately, I'm not sure which, but it's now part of my everyday vocabulary. As my daughter says, Mom, it's sounding really natural on you now. I never allowed myself to show anger. I didn't want to upset anybody because I was a people pleaser. But what I realized that people pleasing is just another word for avoidance of judgment.
Yeah.
Not a people pleaser anymore. I tell people how I feel, and I think I'm more authentic. And that's something else that I learned, that we are not to hide who we are. We're supposed to be our authentic selves. And we all have good sides and not so good sides. I don't know about you, but I have some not so good sides. And so I learned that it's okay that people who truly love you, they're not going to leave you. And people who will judge you for that probably weren't your friends anyway.
Yeah, that's true. It's a good swear word here and there. It's good to, sometimes it's good just to kind of express how you feel and be like, yeah, damn it. And then you just go, okay, I'm going to pick it up and fix it. All right. But sometimes it's good to just kind of express it and kind of shoot out of your system, and then you're not dealing with it anymore. Damn it. All right, let's do better.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of a quick way to release the anger and whatever you're feeling at the moment, and then at least it works that way for me, and then I can be like, okay, pick it up and go. And somebody will be like, whoa, what were you upset about? I'm like, it's nothing now.
Yeah,
I let it out.
Sometimes that word does just release everything. So I learned that, and I have a lot of gratitude for that because it has become part of my daily ritual, I think. Yeah.
Wake up in the morning and start off with the F word. That's the way I have it over my
I try to start the day with gratitude. I'm gonna choose that one.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Another thing that I learned is that one of the things is spiritual communication transcends earthly words. And that is certainly true with people who have dementia. I noticed Rob out in public, he would say things like, she didn't hit me on the head today. I don't know why he said that, but every time he saw someone, he would say, she didn't hit me on the head today. So I would say little things like, oh, yeah, I can't because it's not Thursday. I don't know why I picked Thursday. Or I've only hit you 3 times. I could have hit you 10.
Wow.
Just to make it fun.
Yeah, you got to make it fun.
But what I realized is that no one ever said, why did he say that?
Huh.
So his meaningless conversation, sometimes people didn't react to negatively. I think they felt that pure love come through. And so what I realized is that I spent my entire career teaching children how to talk. But really, it's the intent behind the words that has more impact, even in the words themselves. And I thought, if I can communicate with Rob without saying anything, and he can communicate his love with me with just a handheld, that maybe when he passes, which he did, I can still feel that love, even when I can't see him or hear him. So, yeah. But the other thing I learned is that words are, and one of my things is words are powerful messages to our souls that need to be used wisely. And I realized that all my life I had said things like, you're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You're not pretty enough. You're not kind enough, because life just seemed to be this competition that I hated. We all compete. And so one of the things that I also learned is that I had been talking cruelly to myself for years.
Oh, wow.
And that I needed to stop that. So I wrote affirmations on my mirror and I repeated them. And at first they felt kind of foreign, but now I can say things and believe them. And one of my mottos that I really believe is strength through vulnerability. So that we don't need to be that people pleaser. We don't need to be that perfect person that goes out into the world. We just need to be our authentic selves. And people either like us or they don't.
Yeah.
And I say if they don't like me, that's their problem. It's because I'm a nice person. So I'm not sure why they don't. But if they don't, I no longer worry like I used to about it. Oh my gosh, that person doesn't like me. What could I do to win them back? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, if they don't like me, that's just something that I'm okay with.
Yeah. I mean, I've been on the internet for 18 years with social media and doing videos and all the stuff that we do. And there's a whole lot of people that don't like you. And it really doesn't matter. I mean, I think for sometimes you're a reflection of the failures of those people. They have their issues, their traumas, their whatever. I heard, what was it that I saw recently? I saved the TikTok video, but I heard someone say, I never have haters of someone who's more successful than me. I never have people that hate on me or are haters in my social media feed. They're never people more successful than me.
Interesting.
And he says, there are always people who aren't as successful as me. And maybe I just represent the fact that, if they worked harder, they could be successful too. But instead they just sling, poop at me. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting sort of perspective. What are your thoughts on, one of the problems is caregivers don't take care of themselves. They give and they give and they give till they have nothing left. And the problem is we talk about this concept a lot on the show, and especially in caregiving, you have to put your oxygen mask on first on the plane if there's an issue, because you can't help others if you don't have any oxygen. And so you kind of have to do that. And as a caregiver, it's easy to get lost, I think, especially as a woman, because women are designed to be caregivers. They're designed to be family oriented and support everyone. But some, and moms are guilty of this. My mom was guilty of this too. She was always the last person to eat. She'd feed her family first. And, I've talked to a lot of moms and they're like, yeah, I just eat the leftovers. That's basically where I'm at now. I eat whatever the chicken fingers the kids won't eat, And so how did you square that and find a way to make it so that you took care of yourself? I think we've touched on some of it throughout the show.
Yeah, I think that's a big portion of what I try to show caregivers is that it really is a shared journey. It's not a journey of sacrifice. It's a journey of growth. And to me, the end goal is for unconditional love of yourself. And once you have unconditional love of yourself, only then can you have unconditional love for someone else. And you have to take care of yourself. So it's little things like knowing that it's okay to say, I need help. People want to help you. It's okay to cry. It's okay to dance and sing if that's what you like. I tell people, what have you given up that says who you are? And that's what you have to reclaim. So I used to do watercolors, but I also like to dance and sing. The watercolors was going to be hard because he would always be right there. He was never more than 2 inches away from me, basically. And so you have to find time. And another thing that I was able to find is my voice that would say to him, Rob, I really need you to let me have a little room right now. I really need you to scoot over. I really need you to not be in my face right now. And he respected that, which surprised me. But also to say to people, I'm crashing. I need some help here. Can you just talk to me? Just talk to me and listen. Also, what I did is that we've always gone to bed at the same time. It's just we always did. And I started staying up. So I would put him to bed and I started staying up 1 to 2 hours after he went to bed. And at first that meant just giving up sleep. Eventually then he started needing more sleep than I did. But during that time, I reclaimed, I like to take baths to relax sometimes at the end of a day. And I was not able to do that because he was always there. He would even step in the tub if I didn't say not to. So he was always there. So I had to put him to bed, make sure he was safe, and then take my 1 to 2 hours for myself. And I think people need to realize you're not being selfish when you take care of yourself. You are becoming the person that will have some reserve then to give the love that you want to give.
Because you don't have anything to give if you have exhausted yourself. So you, like you say, you got to have a reserve.
And so one of the insights is that inner peace is the greatest possession one can have. And if we don't have inner peace, then I think we've given up. That's a goal. So if I find myself not having inner peace, then I realize I'm giving too much. If I don't have it now, I know, take care of yourself, Linda. What are you going to do?
Did you have go ahead.
Go ahead. No, caretakers need to take care of themselves. I really was at the end at peace with our journey. I knew that he had finally understood that he deserved unconditional love because that's what he got. And he also gave that to everybody he met. What a gift that was. And at the end, I realized that I am stronger than I ever thought I would be, but not stronger with bitterness. I'm just strength through vulnerability, through allowing myself to be who I am at any moment in time, without this need that I need to squelch who I am or become less than who I am so that I don't offend somebody else.
Yeah. Offend everybody at this point. That's my policy.
I try not to purposely offend, but
sure, yeah.
It's not my goal in life, Chris.
It's mine. That's how I roll. I offend everybody. I'm an equal opportunity offender, whatever that is.
You haven't offended me so far.
I mean, I'm nice to some people. I'm nice to the people on the show. Let's put it that way. I'm nice to my guests because they bring such amazing intelligence. I do a lot of self-offending things to myself. Self-effacing jokes, but no, it's the thing that caregivers struggle with. Like I say, they suffer higher amounts of Alzheimer's and dementia because they give so much of themselves that they literally just drain themselves dry, and the long hours, the sleepless nights, the worrying. And I think, some of what you're talking about, instead of worrying maybe so much, just try and enjoy day to day. That's kind of what I came to with my dog that was in hospice care. I just focused on every day having the best day we could. And I use this, you've heard me, I said it earlier, I use this thing. Today is a brick of gold. So how are we going to use it? How are we going to maximize it? I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. I don't know if she's going to be there tomorrow. I'm not going to worry if she's going to be there tomorrow. We're going to enjoy today. We're going to spend time and make the most of it and be present like you talked about and have fun. My dog would come running for treats still, love to be fed, love to be petted, love to play, no matter how old she got or how tough it was sometimes to get around, she still want to play like the other dog and she still want to have fun. And, it was always cool to see her come running to get a treat, and yeah, she went out like a queen too. She was fed like raw meat. She was on a raw meat diet for the last year and a half of her life. She ate like a queen. So she was living life. My other dog was like, what the hell, man?
I actually renamed my husband because the Rob I knew was basically, I didn't find him, so I could mourn him. Or I started calling him Robsy because he was more childlike. And so I embraced that. And that now I grieve both Rob and Robsy because I grew to love that person who was more free-spirited, more sad at times. I mean, I'm not saying that we didn't cry. We did. We cried a lot together. But when you strip things down from a relationship that's been, we knew each other 55 years. When you strip it all down, what's the essence of everything is just love. The relationship we had was gone, but the love was still there. And I found that, what I'm hoping my book is not a how-to book, because we're all different. We're all different people on our own journeys. No journeys are the same. No two people are the same. But I want it to be a reflection of hope, that there's beauty in the journey. We just have to reframe how we see some things and to learn there's no one that has gone through this journey that doesn't come out stronger. You just have to, or you don't come out.
Yeah, or it'll destroy you.
Or it destroys you. Yeah. And so it's just finding those gifts in the journey and realizing that love, peace, and joy. What Rob said is what life is all about. That's what I found at the end.
Love, peace,
The only
and joy.
thing left in our world was love, peace, and joy together. And I miss it.
And those are the things you miss. So that's why they're important to share at the moments that you can experience them with that person, being present.
Yeah. So, Chris, people don't know this, but I had trouble getting online. So now I'm on my phone, which was not fully charged. So now it's saying 20% battery, just to let you know.
Okay, thank you. We're about 50 minutes in, so we're beyond kind of where we would normally be in the show, but we've been doing such a great job of fleshing this out and all this stuff. Here's something really awesome. My friend let me borrow your book. I just want to say thank you for changing some of my visions. Wow.
Aww.
Isn't that wonderful? Thanks, Donna.
I've gotten some really good feedback on Goodreads and on Amazon, and that's where my book right now is can be purchased is on Amazon. But I've gotten some good feedback that people, even that weren't caregivers of dementia, it's kind of a book to how to reframe trauma in general.
Yeah.
To look at it through the lens. There's one thing I want people to get out of this is we're not victims. We're not being punished. We are being opportunities to become better people. And my goal again is to reach that unconditional love of self that allows me to have unconditional love of others. And I think my husband attained that. I'm still working toward it. It's an ongoing process, but I am a more authentic person than I've ever been in my lifetime. And I like that.
Yeah. These journeys that we go on that we, what's that old saying? Now, which doesn't kill us makes us stronger. I was telling my nephew last night, we were doing some gaming, and I said, he was complaining about something. I said, let me tell you something. All of life is moment to moment, hour by hour, minute by minute is problem solving. You're going to go through your whole life having problems. Now, maybe it's a simple problem. Do I turn left or right, or which way is the map on the, where I'm going, or, what am I going to eat, tacos or pizza? That's a very complex problem right there, because those are both really great things. But, the true answer is have both at the same time, folks, and you eat your dessert first. Anyway, but
my mother did.
Hey, enjoy life, man. It's tough. It's scary. It's ugly. It's not pretty. And like you say, we can get caught up in these concepts of someone in the sky hates us, or fate hates us, or the universe hates us, or, somebody's out to get me. It's the Illuminati who's clearly trying to destroy my life. Whatever your thing is, the sun god is not happy with you today, pick your poison. But in reality, there are challenges in life, and, bad things happen to good people. It just is. That's the way it is. The universe is one big survival game, really, when it comes down to it. And so you've got to survive these challenges that you're presented with. You've got to survive the things, and reframing. I mean, it's so important what you've talked about in surviving, because if you don't, it makes it much harder to survive. And sometimes, people can drain themselves through feeling victimhood, through feeling, and that's where a lot of people sometimes self-harm themselves and end themselves, is because they feel like they're in a victimhood. They feel like they're in a place where they can't correct, or they can't find the way out. And sometimes that's what's good about talking to other people, is because you can get perspective. And a lot of people have the answers. That's why we do the shows, because people like yourself come on with stories about challenges and experiences they had, and the blueprint that they used to survive, and come out of those and become even better people. And, that which doesn't kill us makes us stronger. And it's kind of a, I wish it wasn't that way, but it is what it is.
But I
made it easier.
I think it's like a roller coaster. A roller coaster is only fun because it comes up and down. If a roller coaster only was smooth, it wouldn't be fun. Yeah. So we have to enjoy the valleys if we're also enjoying the peaks. They make the journey the journey. Yeah. Otherwise, it would become stagnant. Yeah. And my last spiritual insight was all events are positive, even if at first only the sorrow of the situation is evident. And that is probably the message that I want to impart is that when you hear that your loved one has dementia, of course, it's going to be a hard journey. And of course, it's going to be a grieving process. But there will be positives. There will. We just have to put on those blinders and live in the present moment is what I just live in the beautiful present moment without fear of the future or regrets of the past. Just live there, and what a beautiful place to stay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was going through a hard time in my life one time, and I was really being overwhelmed with ADHD, and I already have it bad just on a normal day. But it was over the death of my dog that I took through cancer treatment, and somebody turned me on to Eckhart Tolle. I don't know if you remember. Yeah. And he really saved me. My brain was just smacking me relentlessly, just abusing me to a point that I just want to turn it all off. And he talked about being present. You can't change the past. There's no use sitting and crying about it, worrying about it, and trying to, you can't change the past. You can't change the future either. The only way you can really affect the future is in the present, by being present. So if you're sitting all around all day worrying about the future, oh, poor is me, why did this happen to me? What will become of me? You're worrying about the past. We had great times. Now we don't have them anymore. You can't change any of that. The only thing you can change is your future and your present, and also how you reframe, how you meet the moment. I studied a lot of Stoicism and Marcus Aurelius meditations, and a lot of it is how you are going to perceive and react to a thing. Are you going to emotionally flip out, lose control, go into depression or pity party, or are you going to meet the moment with logic and go, okay, this is bad. This doesn't feel great, but how am I going to, meet the moment? How am I going to reframe it? How can I build something positive out of it? And that's really the difference, I think, between greatness and, sometimes getting a little off the given path. I mean, some people can go down that path and they can come back. We all go through the steps of grief. I hate the stages of grief, by the way. I hate when something happens and you're like, oh God, I got to go through all the stages of grief and experience that. But, like you say, love, life, loss, it wouldn't be valuable if it didn't have any value, if it wasn't something you could lose or be taken away from you. If love was so fleeting or hard to find, wouldn't have any value. You'd just be like, oh, here's this love again. It's just like a gallon of milk I got off the shelf again. Oh, boring love, whatever. Who cares?
It's like going to Hawaii when every day is the same. I live in Minnesota. Every day is not the same here.
You guys got a lot of snow and cold up there.
It was 54 today, so not so cold.
Oh, that's sunbathing weather up there, isn't it? Then you guys get on your bikinis.
Absolutely. Shorts. People were out in shorts.
Yeah. Yep. I almost bought some black husky wolves hybrids from out of Minnesota back in the years when I started buying things. That's some beautiful dogs. Let's wrap the show before we run out of juice on the phone there, Linda. Yeah. Give us your .coms. Give us a final pitch out. Tell people where they can pick up your book and all that good stuff.
They can pick up my book, From Fear to Peace, Growing Spiritually as a Dementia Caregiver, on Amazon currently. Hopefully in the near future it'll be other places, but that's where it is now. And you can also contact me through Linda Knebel, Knebel, Pruden, author on Facebook, or lindaknebelpruden.com and my website.
Wonderful stuff. Thank you very much, Linda, for coming and sharing this. There's so many people that are sharing this. I just learned a new term earlier this week called the sandwich generation. And someone brought it up, and they do caregiving as well. And they go, yeah, I'm part of the sandwich generation. I'm someone who has kids in their middle age, and I'm making sandwiches for them. And I have a mother or father that I'm making sandwiches for that's going into dementia that needs care and all that stuff. And so I'm taking care of two ends of children, if you will. And it just is what it is. I mean, that's just the way we're rolling now. We kind of live in a different world where, most people didn't live past 50 or 60, 100 years ago.
Right.
We have a whole new kind of problems we're trying to deal with and fix and everything else. So thank you very much, Linda, for coming on the show and sharing your message and journey.
And thank you for putting up with my lack of technology skills and getting everything set up.
We got through it.
I had my hair all set for earphones. It is what it is.
That's okay. That's why you wear a hat for the Chris Voss show during the show. That's what I do.
Thanks, Chris. And I I hope that people that read my book do find some peace and hope in it. If one person can find a little bit of glimmer of positive it's not sugarcoated. I don't sugarcoat the journey. I mean, I talk about him urinating throughout the house, which was one of the things that really was difficult to deal with, and other things.
I do that now, though, so I might want to have myself.
Okay, that's your own issue, Chris.
But I love your reframing of stuff. I mean, that's really when things happen to you, sometimes you have to take a moment and be like, how do I meet this moment? And you know, a lot of times if you meet it with negativity and pity party and woe is me, you're losing time that you need to deal with the moment, and it's not going to be helpful usually. Right. It's just going to usually make the moment worse.
Yeah.
And sometimes just pulling up our big boy pants or big girl pants and being the moment and you know, discovering ourselves too. I mean, that's the interesting thing about, you know, we've talked about that as you go through these things, you discover a lot about yourself through these moments. Anyway, thank you for coming on, Linda. Thanks, Ron, for tuning in.
Chris.
Thank you. Order up her book, folks, wherever fine books are sold. It's called From Fear to Peace, Growing Spiritually as a Dementia Caregiver. May 13th, 2025, and I'm going to go read a book on how not to pee all over the house. So I'm a guy. It's
I'm glad I inspired you to do that.
My dogs do it. I mean, what's wrong with it? They mark their territory. I do mine too.
Oh, yeah.
I got to quit doing it in the car though, because the dates hate that. Anyway, guys,
like a man, not like a woman.
You know what's funny is my new puppy. He pees like a girl. He doesn't lift his leg. Oh. So the context is I've had 4 female huskies, and this is my first male husky. And the previous owners warned me, they go, he pees like a girl. And he literally pees standing on all 4s. He doesn't lift his leg. Oh. And he ends up peeing on the front of the back of his front paw. And I don't know. Maybe there's a book you could write on how to get people from not peeing.
I'll let you do that one. Okay. Thanks a lot, Chris.
Thank you. And thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the most amazing, intelligent podcast ever made to improve your brain and your life. Warning, consuming too much of the Chris Voss Show podcast can lead to people thinking you're smarter, younger, and irresistible sexy. Consume in regularly moderated amounts. Consult a doctor for any resulting brain bleed.
Linda, and we're out.